You want to come up here? Come here.
Oh, yeah.
Sit. You sit? Sit. There we go. Say hi to everybody, bud. Can you wave everybody? Say hi. Yeah. Say hi. Hi, buddy. You want to talk? No? All right.
Okay, we're now joined by the Busch Light pole winner for tomorrow's Bristol night race, and that is AJ Allmendinger. And with a special guest,
Aero James. What's up,
James.
man? Sorry, I sucked on his birthday last week, so I'm trying to make up for it. His birthday was last Sunday. He said Dad wasn't very good last week, so we're going to try to be better, right, bud? Yeah.
If you have a question for AJ, raise your hand. We'll get you a mic. We'll start up here to Jacob.
Jacob Singleton, Raceface Digital. AJ, you told me a couple weeks ago that as long as you're having fun and Matt Collig wants you to do this, you're going to keep doing this for him in some capacity. Are days like this the reminder that it is still fun for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's I know it's Friday night qualifying, and at the end of the day, that doesn't pay any points or money, but it's small victories like this for our race team that's continually trying to grow. I've been super proud of all the men and women at Collig Racing this year. It's tough in the Cup Series. Sometimes the results don't show speed that you're bringing to the racetrack, and at a racetrack maybe that we ran 28th at last year, we run 15th this year, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, days like today are enjoyable and gives me confidence because I feel like I can still do it. And at the end of the day, anybody that knows me knows I'm by far the hardest on myself, and I'm always going to be like that. That's never going to change. So days like today are important to me as well because it proves that I can be here.
Do you feel like, you talked about how much work has gone on behind the scenes. Do you feel like this team is making gains, even if it's incremental, to get closer to where you want to be?
Yeah, I mean, you take Darlington 2 weeks ago to go run top 5 at Darlington, racetrack that I've never been amazing at. The problem, the only thing that's been tough this year is some of the races that we've had a lot of speed at, and a lot of teams can say this, I'm sure, but the ones that we've been really quick at, we've had some bad things happen, really out of our control. So sometimes you don't get those results, and it's hard to go back to the shop and smile about it and know that you're making progress. But at the end of the day, we've made a lot of progress over the last 2 years of me driving the Cup car of the speed that we got. And, it's Matt Collig has put a lot more resources into it. You bring, obviously Chris has got a lot of work on his plate between the Xfinity side of it and the Cup side of it with Ty here, and then Mike Cook being here as our competition director. So, yeah, we're making progress. We know we got a long ways to go, but it's days like today that show we can go do it.
Sky Sprinkle Raceface Digital. Back at Daytona, Collig announced they're partnering up with Ram, 5 full-time trucks. They're hiring a lot of people. It's going to kind of be a separate thing. I was curious, have you talked with Matt or Chris or anybody else about having any type of involvement, even if it's not driving, maybe coaching new drivers they have, helping them, being a mentor, things like that? Have you talked with them at all about anything regarding the truck team?
Well, to speak on the coaching side of it, I've always been with all the Collig drivers that show up, especially the younger ones. Well, I guess they're all younger than me, but the real younger ones, the ones that can be my sons. My door is always open. I'll always answer the phone calls, text, whatever they need. I'll never force myself on them because sometimes they don't want to talk, but I'm always here for them, and that will never change. That's part of my role as being here for 7 years, being with my career where it's at. Nothing's gonna change it or define it, right? Like it's more important for me to go prove to myself and more importantly to my guys and girls every weekend that I belong in the race car and that I can do the job for them. But so I'm always, my door's always open. I'm always gonna help as much as I can. And the truck thing is a separate entity and I'm so proud of Matt and Chris to get to that side of it. But for me, I'm a Chevy Cup driver for as long as they tell me I am. And that's what my focus is going through the rest of this year, into next year, and so on.
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. Was there much, if any, tire wear and/or fall off? And do you think it's indicative of what'll happen tomorrow?
So we ran 60 laps now. They weren't all consecutive. We made a couple of changes to make the car better, and you know, that's what gave me confidence going into qualifying. Like our last change, I felt like we had a lot of speed. There is a little bit of fall off, but it never, at least my car was good enough. It never felt like there was a cliff there of the tires all of a sudden going to hit that cliff and you know, basically unravel or start really falling off. Looking at the tires, they had wear on them, but they weren't extreme. So, but you know, Bob, it's like one of those things. I mean, in the spring here, we ran 25 laps and it looked like the tires were falling apart, and then we ran 160 on them in the race. So I'm not sure what to expect. I just think, like anything, if you got a good balance, you can manage the tires.
And you know, the plan is for them to put the PJ1 back down or reapply it tomorrow early afternoon. Is that what you would want, or do you have any preference on what they do? I
don't mind it if they reapply it, just more for consistency's sake. You know, I think in the past when they don't reapply it, you get the Xfinity rubber out there and it starts clumping, and you start hitting like patches that have grip and then don't have grip, which makes it real difficult. So I don't mind them reapplying it. I think it's more just like anything, 500 laps around here, eventually we'll get the top rolling. I know we tried in practice there and never could get enough rubber lay down to make a huge difference, but I think the Xfinity cars will get up there pretty quick. And I think that's more important for the racing, is if we get the top line going. And I do think, it may not at the beginning of the race, but I do think eventually we'll get the top lane rolling.
Anyone else for AJ? Wrap up here with John.
Johnny with Savage Ventures. I actually have two questions. So following up on that, I was curious, do you kind of have a sense of when that top lane will start opening up?
That's a good question. I think kind of in that first stage, as the tires start falling off, you know, I've always looked at it, you need the pace to kind of get to like a 15.8, 15.9 to start making the top work and make a difference. Anything other than that, you know, it's tough to get the top rolling fast enough. If you know, the first stage, I think, is 125 laps, 130 laps, around there. Yeah, so I would assume that you start getting 70, 80, 90 laps in the run. You're eventually, or if you catch traffic or if you just get stuck behind somebody, eventually you have to get up there, and as you get more rubber laid down, then it stays consistent up there. So I would be shocked if we don't have guys running the top lane by the end of the first stage, and you know, the good cars making it work.
And then just, you know, when you were talking to TV, you made a big point to explain how it's awesome to get the pole here at Bristol. I was just curious, you know, in your own words, can you kind of expand upon that a little bit?
Well, hell, I haven't had a pole in 10 years, I guess. I got told about that. So it's, I mean, that's pretty cool. It's pretty sure that's our first ever pole on an oval in the Cup Series. I think third. Yeah. So I think we only have two poles, right? Shane. Yeah, Shane. I think last year at COTA. At the Roval, at Roval. Yeah. So I mean, it's a big deal, and like I said, like it's not something to get. We haven't won the race. We're not gonna go party tonight and celebrate that we're on pole, but you also can't just gloss it over and say, it's just a pole. It doesn't mean anything. To me, it shows that on a confidence side of it, on a self-confidence, like, hey, you can still go out there and wheel for a lap and make it happen with the best of them. And then as a race team, it shows like, hey, we can build fast Chevys and we can go get it right and we can qualify up front. So, we got 500 laps, and that's a completely different ball game tomorrow night, and we'll be refocused. But we at least got to celebrate a little bit in the sense of, have pride for ourselves and all the men and women back at the shop. Like it's tough to do, and at a place like this especially. So, it's pretty cool.
Actually, I have two more questions, one down here with Dustin and one in the press box. We'll start with Dustin and then go up to the box.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Obviously, before the race is always the big anthem with the kids with MRO. Is Arrow too young, or is this going to be a first year for Arrow to do that?
You'd have to ask Tara that. He may be over there. He's definitely not speaking enough words. He's making enough noise for sure, but not speaking enough words yet to go with, singing. But Tara, it would not shock me if she's over there. But, at the same point, I always love having them near me at the car. So that's a mom decision.
So whether he does it or not, more than likely he'll probably do it in the future. So to see different things like that as a father, and to see your child to start to grow and experience different things, what would that be like, whether it's tomorrow night or next year, to have your son sing an anthem before you start a cup race?
Yeah, it's all the moments right now, like that was the coolest thing. You get out of the car and you're celebrating with the team, high five and all that. Next thing you know, he comes running up and comes and gives me a hug and jumps in my arms. Like, that about brought me to tears, quite honestly. I was like, don't get on TV starting to cry over a pole, and people are like, what's his deal? It's like, no, it's my son, I promise. Like, it's so all these moments are special. Tara and I with Arrow, it was never like we have to have kids, and it was never a no. And so all these moments are special, and I would just love to win a race with them here. I've won a couple with him born, but not with either of them at the racetrack. But yeah, it means the world to me to have them both here and to see him running around. And fortunately and unfortunately, he loves this stuff. Like, I'm like, hey, here's a golf club. He's like, no, here's my Hot Wheels. I'm like, oh, I have to keep. How long's the contract? 10 more years? I'm gonna need to keep getting a paycheck because he loves this stuff. So that's good and bad. Would be the coolest moment of my life. That would bring me to tears. Well, you already saw my last cup win. It'll bring me to tears anyways, but it'll be the coolest moment of my life. Yeah.
We'll go up to the press box.
Nikolai Culp, Go Full Throttle. AJ, I believe that's your first pole with Colleague in the Cup Series. So I know you just talked about Colleague a little bit and how much it means for you and the organization, but could you talk about, how much this means for the future a little bit more, and then also, would you have ever guessed that it was at Bristol?
To answer the second part of that question, I guess a little bit, because we qualified 8th here in the spring, and we had a horrible practice and only ran a couple of laps. So the speed is there, and now if you'd have said Darlington, that'd probably be the shocking one to me qualifying. I'm not a great qualifier at Darlington, but at the end of the day, like I said, there's a happy medium. You don't want to make too much of it because it's just a pole on a Friday night, but you also don't want to demote it and say that it doesn't mean anything, because it does. Because I can tell you, there's the people at the racetrack, the men and women here were pumped up about it, and I can tell you at the shop they're probably over the top about it. So yes, it means a lot. It'd be even cooler if we could go run inside the top 10 all night tomorrow night and maybe have a chance to win.
All right, AJ. Well, congratulations on the pole, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you, guys.